So if you've been watching these videos for a while, you'll know we've just moved to a new studio, which is very exciting. Although one of the kind of unexpected things about this studio, which I didn't realize was going to be the case, is that the entire roof/wall becomes a radiator in summer. So it's not even that hot outside, but it's extremely hot in here. And you know what that calls for? An iced latte. However, today we're going to do something a little bit different. It's been brought to my attention by Morgan Drinks Coffee that people are putting onions in iced lattes. This sounds super weird. We're going to explore it today. We're going to taste it, and then it might be the best drink of all time, potentially. We'll see. And if not, we're going to riff upon it and make a coffee cocktail which contains coffee and onions. So strap in. This is going to be weird. This might be fun. It might be kind of gross, but we'll soon find out. So let's get started. So to cool ourselves down today, we're going to be making a delicious iced latte with some real refreshing onion in there. And this is going to be super simple to make. I'm just going to be copying the way Morgan made this drink. I think that's a good example of how this drink could taste. So all we're going to do, remove the very tops of the greens. I'm going with spring onions, which tend to be a little bit milder. And this green part in the middle is much milder than the white bit, which I think in a drink like this is going to be a good thing. We don't want like super strong raw onion flavor in there, I don't think. Could be wrong, but we'll soon find out. So you want to chop this nice and fine. Don't want huge chunks of onion in there. No one wants like a really big old chunk of onion in their drink, as far as I'm aware. So I'm going to give this a really good chop. Get some nice little onion rings for your latte. So we're going to keep the whiter ends for dinner, which I think might be where this should live. But we're going to add some of our little finely chopped onion rings into our iced latte. So the assembly of the drink seems quite straightforward from Morgan's video. Going to go in with some of our chopped onion into the base of the drink. Delicious. Going to go in with plenty of ice now. Going to go with our choice of either dairy or non-dairy milk. I'm going with Oatly because it's delicious in coffee. Maybe still delicious in spring onion lattes or green onion lattes, whatever you want. In with our double espresso. This is a really nice chocolatey Peruvian coffee, which technically would work really nicely in a nice latte. Again, we shall see. Gonna give this a good mix together with a straw so it fully mixes together. And you've got that really strange looking green ring of onion all through the drink. And then we're just gonna top it with all the green onion you could ever want in a drink, which might be none. This may be more than you want in a drink. And that's our finished, very strange looking onion latte. So visually, I guess it looks a bit like bubble tea, although rather than having the bubbles, you've got diced spring onion. Strange. The top does not look appealing. It's got a lot of spring onion on top, which is kind of true to the original reel that we saw. It smells vividly and strongly like raw spring onion, which in a salad, let's just drink the drink. Let's stop messing around and evaluating this before I've tasted it. Cheers. Oh, that's so weird. This might be a really niche reference, but this really tastes like sour cream and chive Pringles, if you've ever had them before. I think because you've got the sour cream, creamy element, we've got oat milk in there, but if you had dairy, it'd be similar. Chive is another allium, I believe, so spring onion, green onion, chive all have that kind of similar flavor profile, similar to garlic. I'm not convinced it's a good thing. I never really wanted coffee with my Pringles. In fact, I definitely didn't. But it kind of reminds me of that creamy, oniony, strange, kind of Moorish because I'm quite hot, but also really weird flavor profile. So something people were actually doing with this drink to begin with, which Morgan also recommends, is tasting this with a spoon, almost like the weirdest cereal in the world. Oh, that's so bad. Oh, I'm sorry if you're listening on headphones. No, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I'm not gonna kid you and say this is delicious. That is so gross. Raw onion. You almost want it to be like cocoa pop milk, but then it's just onion flavor. What are we trying to do here? What a time to be alive. So weird. So, what we're gonna do, create something which celebrates coffee and onion, which I think is much, much better, much more interesting. I think there's elements of this that really shouldn't go together, but coffee and onion, I'm curious enough to want to play with. I'm quite interested in unique flavor combinations. So this drink I'm about to show you, I'm actually quite excited by. So this really challenged my mind, kind of opened my mind to interesting flavor combinations. I'm going to show you it now. So I think it's fair to say that I'm never going to ever touch that drink again. See ya. I do encourage you to try it, but probably you'll learn a similar lesson unless you love raw spring onions, which is fine. But also, onion and coffee isn't a completely lost cause, as long as it's in balance. So I like to kind of work out how things can bridge together, which is what I did in this particular drink. And actually, I think it turned out really well. So we're gonna ditch the green onion, ditch the milk, also ditch the espresso, but coffee and onion is gonna work together. However, red onion is a much better fit. So as you know, red onion can be kind of sweet. When it's raw, again, not great on its own. But the reason I use this is because it's got a much more kind of synergistic flavor to coffee. And I made this, which is designed to kind of take off the edge from that raw onion note, which just isn't good in a drink. So in here, we've got a really interesting combination of ingredients. First of all, we've got 20 grams of coriander seeds, which I just crushed up. And this brings that kind of spice note, works well with onion, bridges it to coffee. Coffee and spice is delicious. Onion and spice, also delicious. And it brings a lot of flavor to this mix. So when you open this up, you can really smell the coriander in there. But you could experiment with other spices, other herbs as well if you wanted to, but coriander seed is really nice. So first of all, I crushed 20 grams of this in our Kilner jar, and then I added 1 whole red onion. So I just weighed this. A red onion usually is about 200 grams. The one I used was 200. This one is about the same. And that's a really good basis to make this, but you can also scale it up and down. So raw onion is not good. This is designed to kind of take off the edge from those raw flavors. It's part inspired by a shrub, which is why I've got the vinegar in there. It's part inspired by saccharum, which is why I've got the sugar. And I just chop this up, 200 grams of onion into the jar, 200 grams of light muscovado sugar, which again has a bit more richness, kind of bridges the onion and the coffee together. And it also pulled all the moisture out of the onion, giving you a kind of onion juice, which sounds weird, but it does really work. So leave that for 24 hours, allow it to do its thing. Add 200 grams of our apple cider vinegar, which brings an acidity, which kind of bridges coffee and onion again. Citrus would have been super weird, so that onion kind of flavor works really nicely. Leave that for another 24 hours, and you're gonna have this, which is quite a delicious thing. So, on the nose, onion, vinegar, spice, really delicious. All you wanna do is just pass this through a sieve, and then this is going to be the basis of our cocktail. So these leftovers are going to be super delicious. That kind of raw, pungent, spicy onion thing's going to be all gone from them because the vinegar has kind of lightly pickled them, I imagine. The sugar's pulled out a lot of moisture. So delicious in salads and all sorts of things, but that's for another meal. This that's left over, which is our kind of shrub-inspired, saccharum-inspired onion liquid. Let's give it a little taste. It's so good. Oh, that's so delicious. Sweet and sour, not lemony. It's got your kind of vinegar type acidity, but it's not super overpowering. Enough sweetness, enough spice, a hint of onion for sure, but not too much. And I think that's going to be a really nice foundation for our drink. So as I said before, we're going to ditch that weird kind of iced latte base. I'm going to go with filter coffee, which is going to be a little bit milder, and we're going to be building the drink in a mixing glass. So filter coffee obviously has a much milder flavor profile. I think big espresso flavors, big onion flavors, I mean, I don't even think I know. In my opinion, don't work at all. Filter coffee, this is a natural process, really kind of fruit forward, big body, brewed quite strong. Ethiopian coffee, really delicious, is going to be the basis of our drink. So it's going to be a much milder coffee flavor, but that's definitely no bad thing. So 40 mils of filter coffee. And then ingredient wise, I'm going to grab a couple of things. First of all, going with a bay and rosemary Cornish vodka. We're going with Amaro Averna from Italy. And then I'm going to go with a sweet Cascara vermouth from Discarded. So these ingredients are all leaning on the kind of herbal complex flavor. I think coffee and onion definitely need a big bridge to connect the two together. And these three ingredients, along with one more, which is going to be grape juice, are going to do a really nice job of that. So first of all, we're going to go 30 mils of this rosemary and bay vodka from Colworth Farm Distillery. Again, really clean base, rosemary, bay, big kind of herbal flavors. This is really good stuff. Recommend giving this a try. 20 mils of Amaro. This is Averna. And I tried a few different Amari in this drink. Averna worked really nicely. It's almost got those kind of rich spice notes. Not onion, definitely not onion. But you've got herbs and spices in there which kind of lean towards the flavor of onion, which kind of bridge it towards the coffee. And you've also got slight kind of coffee notes in there, slight cola notes, and this is really delicious. You could try different Amari. I used Nonino, which was much lighter, and it didn't really have the big kind of bitter, spicy flavors I was looking for. Averna Amaro worked really well, but you can experiment with other ones. And then 20 mils of discarded Cascara vermouth. So this is made by infusing Cascara, which is leftover coffee cherry, which are kind of discarded from the coffee producing process often, into vermouth. It's really delicious. It's got natural sweetness without being overpowering, and it's just gonna bring a little bit more of a coffee note, tied in those natural coffee flavors with the kind of, again, herbal, spicy notes of vermouth, bridging it all together, and we've got really kind of rich, reddy purple base for those of you who speak in color. We're gonna go 20 mils of a red grape juice, but you could also use pomegranate juice. And this has natural sweetness, but also natural dryness. It's got that kind of refreshing, clean kind of texture. These all have elements of sweetness. This also has sweetness, but you need that kind of tartaric crispness to finish off the drink. And then our star of the show, 20 mils of our onion shrub-ish, saccharum-ish liquid. And this is our acidity, believe it or not. So it has sweetness, but it's got that acidity from the vinegar. A lot of cocktails these days contain a shrub, which is really good. It's got that nice vinegar-like acidity. As I said, citrus in this drink, I just don't think could work at all. Vinegar, onion, delicious combination. Vinegar with kind of sweeter flavors, also really good. Vinegar with those kind of richer notes, really nice, kind of cuts through the richness of the drink. And then finally, one ingredient, as I always put into these drinks, is gonna be saline solution. Salt and vinegar, we all know is a good combination. Salt and onion also works really nicely. And we're just gonna go with 1 gram, just to bridge all these big flavors together. Just gonna give this a very quick stir with a couple of really big ice cubes just to chill it down. Add a little bit of dilution, but we don't want too much in here because it's already quite a low intensity drink. Gonna strain into our nice frozen stemless flute. You can see it's got a really nice kind of clear aesthetic. Leave a little bit of room at the top. And then to finish off, just a little bit of chilled ginger ale, which I know comes from a little bit of left field, but actually it's got that kind of freshness, that gingery bite, which really works with the onion, works with the bigger flavors in the drink. It's definitely not dark and stormy vibes, but ginger, coffee, rich flavors, proven combination, and that, I think, is a really interesting coffee and onion-based drink that I'm actually really proud of. So there it is. Do you want to try it? It's interesting.
It's gingery. Fair play, Dan.
Does your mouth taste like onion now?
It's definite red onion.
Yeah, it's kind of there on the finish.
It's almost caramelized red onion chutney. Blended.
It's kind of red winey, isn't it? In a weird way.
It's got that sweet savoury thing.
Like sangria, like onion sangria-ish. I like it.
It's very refreshing. It's really good.
Do you get onion?
I get onion, for sure.
Is that a good thing?
Well, red onion works. Spring onion.
Yeah, maybe not so. Happy days.
It's a great drink.
Would you drink it again?
I would drink that again.
So if you have these ingredients or even similar ingredients, I would love you to give this a try. Sam said he'd drink it again, which is a good sign. I would also drink it again. In this kind of radiator room, a very cold drink with acidity, freshness, coffee, richness actually goes down really nicely. Give that a try. If you have these ingredients, perfect. If you have similar ingredients, give it a try. If you have other coffee and onion drinks, I'd love to hear about those. Get those in the comments. Do you think this is disgusting? Do you think this is interesting? I like it. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.